murder. Let's bring in Jill Doherty, also Elliot Abrams, a veteran of the Reagan and George W. Bush administrations and currently a senior fellow for Middle Eastern Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. Elliot, obviously some tough sanctions announced today. Maybe the president will have more to say, but how much can be done? How much can be accomplished? What else can be done to stop these killings?
Two things. First, we need to be clearer that Assad's got to go. The president has said that about Mubarak and Gaddafi. He still hasn't said it about Assad. I hope he does tomorrow, but the sooner the better. We need more sanctions, and we need more Europeans to join us in them, because we've got to get the richer people, the elites, particularly the Sunni elites in Syria, to turn against him, and the way to do that is through the economy.
Jill, do we know what the president is going to say tomorrow?
We think it's going to be tougher. There could be a good portion of it on Syria. I don't think, judging by what we've heard, he is going to go as far as Elliot is saying and say, you know, you have outlived your usefulness, you have to step down. The sanctions really did that. Or at least that's the message. But, you know, look at what they said, Anderson, in the sanctions announcement today. Go for a political transition or leave. They're still leaving that window open for political transition, even though the United States has no idea, there's no belief at all that that Assad is going to change.
Elliot, I mean, the White House in the past, you know, toward the end of the Mubarak regime, called on Mubarak to step down. Gaddafi, obviously. Why hasn't the president made the same demand of Assad?
Well, I think one thing is they still believe in this reformer nonsense. You've shown these pictures. This is a regime that survives by murdering its own population. But it's been very slow to get, particularly Secretary Clinton, to turn away from this idea that he's secretly a reformer. The other thing is they're afraid of what comes next. There's the boogeyman out there of the Muslim Brotherhood taking over Syria. No one ever produces any evidence for why that would happen. But that's the other argument.
So you have no concerns about what comes next? Because, I mean, you know, we've all seen in many cases, I mean, look what's happening in Egypt right now. You know, things are not turning out necessarily the way certainly many of the secular reformers want it.
Well, how much worse can it get than this regime? It's murdering its own people. It is Iran's greatest ally. It is an enemy of Israel. It is trying to take over, and as it used to have control over, Lebanon. It is a regime that was building a nuclear weapon with the help of North Korea. It was a regime that funneled jihadis into Iraq to kill as many Americans as possible. What's going to be worse than that?
Jill, we've seen ambassadors pull from other countries that are in a lot better shape than Syria is right now in terms of violence directed at its people. Any discussion of removing the ambassador?
No, in fact, we talked to two State Department officials today who said they're not thinking about that. And, you know, the rationale they usually use in this case is having an ambassador there, even if you could send a signal by yanking him out, it still gives you a chance to talk directly with the regime, deliver a message, that type of thing, maybe even a harder message. But they're not talking about pulling him out yet.
Elliot, is there some mistake? Sorry, go ahead, Elliot.
I'm just going to jump in and say that's a mistake, because as I talk to Syrians, what they're worried about is, why is the American government in favor of Assad staying? We need to do something symbolically that proves to Syrians we're on their side, not on his side. Pulling the ambassador is probably the easiest symbolic move to make that clear to them.
Elliot Abrams, I appreciate you being on the show. Jill Doherty as well. Thanks very much. Again, we'll continue to follow this tomorrow when the president's supposed to speak about it.